Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the most nostalgic games in the entire franchise for me. That being said, my original save file is lost to time because I chose to reset it all those years ago. Today, we are back in the Johto region with my forever save in Pokemon Heart Gold. If you're new here, allow me to briefly explain the details of a forever save. We're playing through this game with the intention of keeping it, well, forever, so I want to experience everything that the game has to offer. That means we'll be going out of the way to do some of the fun optional things like the bug catching contest and Pokeathlon Dome. In addition, I'll be catching every new Pokemon I see along with battling every last trainer in the game. Oh, and I also read the dex entries for each new Pokemon that I find, so you may even learn a thing or two while watching. This is part 2 of my forever save here in Johto, and while you can enjoy this video without having seen part 1, I highly recommend checking it out. We continue our journey on a Saturday where I wasn't all that productive in game. I only got on to do the bug catching contest as there are some Pokemon exclusive to this event. Keep in mind I'm not changing the date or time throughout the series, so if I miss one of these days, I'll have to wait for the next one in real time. Regardless, I get quite lucky as I'm able to find a Pinsir pretty quickly. With its pincer horns, it digs burrows to sleep in at night. In the morning, deep soil clings to its body. The only redeeming quality about Pinsir is its blue shiny. The teeth that it has are literal nightmare fuel. Last time, we ended just after Burn Tower, so we're free to take on the Ecruteak City Gym. But before that, allow me to quickly go over the team. Noelle the Snowrunt, Valkyrie the Shelgon, Jinga the Hitmontop, Ladybug the Illumise, Titania the Aeron, Coral the Vaporeon, and Iris the Smeargle to aid in all of our catching needs. If you'd like a more detailed breakdown of the team, be sure to check out part 1. Morty himself was actually more of a challenge than I expected. I genuinely had to swap around a good bit in order to take him down. To be fair though, he does have a Gengar and my team lacks a Ghost, Psychic, or Dark type. Eventually, we're able to take down Morty, earning us the 4th gym badge along with the TM for Shadow Ball, which looking back, I'm not sure why I didn't immediately teach to our Vaporeon. West of here lies our destination in Route 38. Here, I'm going to quickly explain how I record these videos as I've had quite a few comments asking what I do. First off, I do indeed use a capture card. The one I'm using here is a 3DS capture card, which will run you about $600, which is pretty insane. Luckily, there are cheaper options like the original Nintendo DS with a capture card that'll run you around $300. Of course, I'm not a huge fan of these prices, and this is one of the reasons people opt to make content using emulators. For me personally, there's something special about doing this authentically on real hardware and a real game cartridge. For context, this copy of Heart Gold is the same copy I used to stay up late in bed playing under my blankets. The same copy I chose my first ever starter on being Cyndaquil. Not only was Cyndaquil my first starter, but it was my first Pokemon ever. By no means am I encouraging you to go out and buy a capture card, but if you're someone who exclusively plays on emulators, I encourage you to consider getting a DS and a game cartridge. The DS series of consoles are genuinely some of my favorites as they're extremely portable and easy to hold. At the end of the day, play Pokemon the way you enjoy the most. For me, that just happens to be on an old school console with my DS cartridges. Jumping into the items, here on Route 38, I collect a white apricorn and a maxed potion. I also decided to give my phone number to Last Dana. After rematches, she has a chance to give you a Thunderstone, so it may come in handy for completing the dex. Pokemon wise, there are a few new entries to find here. First off, I find the Electric Steel type Magnemite. It is attracted by electromagnetic waves. It may approach trainers if they are using Pokegear. This is a really cool dex entry. I could imagine someone talking on the phone when they get a little too close to a Magnemite and it ends up sticking to it. Next, I get pretty lucky here and find the 4% Tauros. They fight each other by locking horns. The herd's protector takes pride in its battle-scarred horns. I like this entry a lot, being able to identify the herd's strongest member by seeing which has the most scarred horns is really unique. Following that is an extremely tedious 1% encounter being Snubbull. Although it looks frightening, it is actually kind of affectionate. It is very popular among women. I don't see the appeal that this Pokemon has. To me, it looks like an annoying baby that would be screaming constantly. That being said, it does have a phenomenal shiny form. There's one Pokemon left here, being Miltank. It has a 5% encounter rate, but I was really starting to doubt that. I ended up finding multiple 4% Tauros and even another 1% Snubbull before finally encountering this stupid cow. Its milk is packed with nutrition, making it the ultimate beverage for the sick or weary. See, Miltank is in a weird spot for me. When I was younger, I found one of these and instantly added it to my team after seeing just how strong Whitney's was. And this thing also has a really good shiny form, and as much as I want to, I just can't hate you, Miltank. Just left of here is Route 29, where Baboa is waiting. He talks about his plans to open up a new safari zone near Cianwood City, and lets us know that he'll be in touch. Route 39 has a few trainers, but I want to quickly ask you guys a question. What is your favorite Jhoto Pokemon? But not only that, I also want to know why. I love seeing comments about how some of you got a Pokemon you thought was legendary or something and it became your favorite through that. As for me, my favorite has got to be Jumpluff. I used to hate on it a lot because, well, it's quite weak in terms of damage output, and I could never justify putting one on my team as it couldn't learn the HM for Fly. But about 2 years ago, I played through Emerald for the first time, and I also picked up a copy of Colosseum in an attempt to complete the dex. Jumpluff ended up being extremely useful in Colosseum and helped me catch almost all of the shadow Pokemon available. Then, about 2 weeks ago on August 2nd, I attempted to shiny hunt one with the Destiny mark on my birthday in Pokemon Violet, only to later realize that I had forgotten to set my birthday in that game. So yeah, unfortunately, I caught about 12 shiny Jumpluff, none of which had the Destiny mark. But next year on my birthday, I will definitely be going back for the reclaim. We can't grab all of the items here yet, as I don't have enough Oran Berries to heal up the Miltank. But what I do grab is a Green Apricorn, the Drain Punch TM, a Nugget, an X Attack, and a PP up. We then arrive in Olivine City, where our rival complains about a sick Pokemon in the lighthouse keeping the gym leader away from her gym. There are some items to collect here though, being the Good Rod, a full heal, a Pearl, and the Charge Beam TM. As for Pokemon, I eventually reel in a Staryu with the Good Rod. At night, the middle of its body slowly flickers with the same rhythm as a human heartbeat. Staryu has an insanely clean shiny, and I've actually hunted it through chain fishing in Gen 6 and SOS calling in Gen 7. There is another Pokemon here, but it's exclusive to daytime, so I decided to call it a night there and continue tomorrow morning. A new day actually brings us multiple new encounters, and the first I go back to grab is a Farfetch'd. If anyone tries to disturb where the essential plant stock grows, it uses its own stock to thwart them. I really wish Farfetch'd had a little bit better shiny colors. It's actually a pretty cool Pokemon, and I'd love to use one someday. Then I head back to Olivine City, where there's supposed to be a 10% chance to reel in a Corsola. I fished here for about 25 minutes before eventually giving up. Either I'm unlucky or Bulbapedia is just wrong. But don't worry, it is available on other routes and I'll be sure to catch it later. Next stop is the Olivine Lighthouse. This area houses an Ampharos that serves as a lighthouse for boats at night. But before we can see it at the top, there are a ton of trainers we need to tackle inside. During this, we're going to be covering a few problems here in the Johto region. While I love these games and truly believe that they're some of the best Pokemon has ever made, they aren't without their flaws. First, let's talk about the Pokemon. Up to this point, we haven't seen a single Johto Pokemon in any of the 4 gyms that we've taken on so far. Gym 1 has Pidgey and Pidgeotto, Gym 2 has Kakuna, Metapod, and Scyther, Gym 3 has Clefairy and a Miltank, and Gym 4 consists only of Ghastly and its evolutions. Truly, I don't see why they couldn't have added at least a few Johto Pokemons to the gyms. Pidgey and Pidgeotto are okay, I guess, but why not swap in a Hoothoot? Okay, enough bashing on the gyms, let's quickly cover the learn sets. Gen 4 did a great job with the addition of the physical and special split, but why are some of these Pokemon's movesets so terrible? This is true even in the prior generations, but it confuses me why some Pokemon like Kirlia get access to powerful moves like Psychic through level up, but Pokemon like Ariados are left out to dry, with its best level up move being Pin Missile. I still love the Johto region, and I can only hope that their goal with these sets were to encourage TM usage. Anyways, let's move on to the items. Here, I make sure to grab the Swagger TM, a rare candy, an ether, a hyper potion, a surprise encounter with the cameraman, Smeargle looks absolutely insane here by the way, a super repel, and a super potion. Atop the lighthouse, Jasmine is waiting with Ampharos, who isn't doing too well. We are tasked with obtaining the secret potion over at Cianwood City, which should make this Ampharos feel a lot better and allow Jasmine to return to her gym. So I head west of Olivine and start making my way over to Cianwood City. Here, I'm going to tell a story I've told once before, and it's the story of my worst shiny fail ever. There I was, fresh off of obtaining my shiny charm in my copy of Ultra Sun. Eager to maximize this new shiny item, I went out in search of a legendary. In the Ultra games, there's a mechanic called the Ultra Warp Ride, which allows you to encounter just about every legendary ever released up until this point. I was super excited to find one of these legendaries and decided that any Kanto legendary would do. Those of course being Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, and Mewtwo. And after a lot longer than I cared to admit, I finally encountered one of my targets, Mewtwo. I of course made sure to save in front of it before grabbing some rubber bands and putting on some background videos to watch. Now, this isn't a crazy story of a first encounter legendary, but it was still a very quick hunt. After just 56 encounters, a green Mewtwo appeared on my screen. I was ecstatic. This was my first ever legendary soft reset hunt, and getting it so soon felt amazing. Or so I thought. A few turns later, Mewtwo was starting to tear through my team, taking them down one by one. I eventually sent in my Galissopod to tank some hits while I used healing items to restore my team. But then, disaster struck. My Galissopod dropped below half health, activating the emergency exit ability and fleeing the battle. This fail had me feeling terrible. This led to me trying to cope insanely hard, constantly telling myself that this was okay to fail because I got it so fast. But of course, after this fail, I immediately went back to hunting. I slowly watched as my encounters climbed. 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and eventually I hit 3,000 soft resets. This had me feeling awful. Not only had I been hunting for almost 20 hours at this point, the thought of me never reclaiming this Mewtwo was beginning to haunt me. After a few more hours, I finally hit the magic number of 3,159, and the green Mewtwo finally appeared back on my screen. You may think that I played much more carefully this time around, and you'd be correct to assume that. I immediately tossed my Master Ball, caught the Mewtwo, and closed the game. My reaction wasn't filled with the same joy as the first time, but instead, relief. I was free from the shackles that binded me to this 3DS, resetting for hours and hours every day. And I can only hope that my shiny Mewtwo hunt here in the Heart Gold Forever save treats me much nicer than that one. So yeah, that's the story on my worst shiny fail ever. But that aside, let's collect some items. The Pluck TM, and a Hyper Potion. Oh, and also my Aeron finally evolved into a Lairon. Then I went back through these routes and collected all of the new Pokemon. First up, I was finally able to reclaim the Corsola. It continuously sheds and grows. The tip of its head is prized as a treasure because of its beauty. Corsola's sprite in this game is so pure. It's just a pink, happy rock. Next up, I find myself a Tentacruel. Its 80 tentacles absorb water and stretch endlessly to constrict its prey and enemies. This is a really creepy dex entry actually. It says prey and enemies, meaning potentially humans while they're out swimming around. Following that is the Heart Gold exclusive Mantine. As it majestically swims, it doesn't care if Remoraid attached to it for scavenging its leftovers. Mantine is just a nice guy. I really appreciate this dex entry as a nod to its pre-evolution Mantike too. Following that is the Ice Water type being Shelder. It swims facing backward by opening and closing its two-piece shell. It is surprisingly fast. This is another one of those dex entries that talk about how surprisingly fast a Pokemon is, when in reality, it's barely faster than a Snorlax. Moving on to one of my favorite Jhoto lines is Chinchou. It shoots positive and negative electricity between the tips of its two antennae and zaps its enemies. Chinchou is such a well-designed Pokemon. It has a great typing, great bulk, and two amazing abilities. We then finally arrive at our destination in Cianwood, and while we're mostly here for the secret potion, up north, it appears Suicune is waiting for us. Just as it runs off, Yucine appears again and challenges us to a battle. He's not much of a threat to us at all, but a necessary part of the story to eventually having us track down Suicune. There is a gym to challenge here in Cianwood, but first, I spend a good 30 minutes smashing rocks before finally encountering a Shuckle. The berries it stores in its vase-like shell decompose and become a gooey liquid. Actually, this provides a clear explanation as to why these guys are always holding a berry juice. I never expected them to make it themselves though. I then head to the southern side of the city and collect the secret potion. Our final objective before heading back to Olivine though is to challenge the gym. Inside, I make sure to take down all of the trainers before disabling the loud waterfall. Chuck, upset by this, then accepts our challenge. But unfortunately for him, my fighting type outclasses his entire team, so he inevitably falls to Hitmontop. He then rewards us with our 5th gym badge along with the TM for Focus Punch. Just outside, Chuck's wife is waiting and congratulates us on our big win by giving us the Fly HM. Unfortunately, our Shelgon is still a ways away from evolving into a Salamence, so we're still going to be moving around on foot. After surfing back to Olivine City, I delivered the secret potion to the sick Ampharos atop the lighthouse. After receiving it from Jasmine, the Ampharos returns to its former state and begins lighting up the area once again. Jasmine thanks us and lets us know that she'll be returning back to her gym and awaiting our challenge. As soon as I exit the lighthouse, I get my first call from Baboa, and he lets us know that the Safari Zone is now open. But seeing as I don't have Fly yet, I don't really want to surf all the way back to Cianwood, so we'll come back and do that later. Jasmine's gym is one of the few in the entire franchise that doesn't have any trainer battles. Instead, the people inside thank us and let us know that Jasmine is awaiting our challenge. Upon reaching her, she accepts our battle, and unfortunately for her, our team is very well equipped to deal with Steel-type Pokemon. Hitmontop easily takes down the Magnemites, and Vaporeon is able to take down her Steelix. Once defeated, Jasmine awards us with the Mineral Badge and the TM for Irontail. We can then make our way over to Route 42. Here, we're able to grab the Strength HM and the Shadow Claw TM before another surprise encounter with Suicune. Of course, Yucine is quick to follow and lets us know that he wants to find Suicune way more than we do. Back to the items, I grab a pink apricorn, a green apricorn, an orange apricorn, a super potion, an accidental Raikou encounter, which he of course flees from, and finally a max potion. As for Pokemon, I'm able to encounter a Mankey. It is extremely ill-tempered. Groups of them will attack any handy target for no reason. Am I the only one that didn't know Mankey was based off a pig? I know its nose resembles one, but I always thought it was, a monkey. Next up, I find myself a Flaffy. As a result of storing too much electricity, it develops patches where even downy wool won't grow. By the way, Flaffy is one of the Pokemon whose name I really struggle to spell. You wouldn't expect this to be difficult, but double A's into double F's is not how I would think to spell it. Anyways, the final Pokemon available here is a Seaking. During spawning season, Seaking gather from all over, causing rivers to appear a brilliant red. This seems like an event that tons of people would gather to watch. Having so many Seaking gathered together that the water changes color entirely would be an amazing sight to see. Just north of this route lies Mount Mortar, and while we can't do everything here right now, there's still a good bit of items to collect, being a Hyper Potion, an Ether, a Revive, an Ultra Ball, a Max Potion, an Escape Rope, a Nugget, and a Max Repel. There's just one Pokemon available here, and it's an absolutely brutal 1% encounter. And with how good our luck has been lately, surely this one is going to take a very long— Oh, hi Meryl. The tip of its tail, which contains oil that is lighter than water, lets it swim without drowning. Meryl is another one of those Pokemon that has a contagious happiness. Look at that smile and tell me it doesn't make you smile too. East of here, we can arrive in one of the smallest cities in Jhoto, being Mahogany Town. There's only one item to collect here, so I purchase a Rage candy bar from an old man on the right. Route 43 is all that stands between us in the Lake of Rage, so let's check it out. This time, we're back with even more Jhoto Trivia. In the last video, I asked you guys some relatively easy questions, so this time we're going to make them a bit more difficult. Question 1. It's no secret that these starters all get the abilities Blaze, Torrent, and Overgrow. Of the Jhoto starters, name at least one of the hidden abilities that these Pokemon get. Go ahead and pause if you need a second to think. But as for those of you that are ready, Meganium's hidden ability is Leaf Guard, Typhlosion's is Flash Fire, and Feraligator's is Sheer Force. Question 2. It's relatively common knowledge that Pupitar evolves into Tyranitar at level 55. But what level does Larvitar evolve into Pupitar? Again, pause if you need a moment to think, but Larvitar evolves into Pupitar at level 30. Question 3. How do you spell Azumarill? This is either going to be the easiest or hardest question yet, so again, pause if needed. Azumarill is spelled A-Z-U-M-A-R-I-L-L. The double L at the end is usually what gets people. But anyways, that concludes today's trivia section. Be sure to leave a comment down below on how many you got right, or which questions tripped you up. Anyways, let's go ahead and collect the 2 items available here, a Black Apricorn and a Max Ether. Pokemon wise, I make sure to headbutt some trees before finding a Venonat. Its eyes also function as radar units. It catches and eats small bugs that hide in darkness. Venonat is a weird Pokemon. Its nose has these fangs on them, so maybe it's not even its nose and it's a mouth, or maybe its mouth is hiding under the fur. I honestly don't know. Following that is the normal flying type in Pidgeotto. It has outstanding vision. However high it flies, it is able to distinguish the movements of its prey. This makes a lot of sense. Having good vision is crucial to finding your next meal. For birds, of course. The last Pokemon here is Girafarig. Its tail has a small brain of its own. Beware, if you get close, it may react to your scent by biting. I used to dislike Girafarig because of its creepy tail, and while I do think the tail is still unique to say the least, it's grown on me quite a bit, and I'd love to shiny hunt one for a future forever save. We then arrive at the Lake of Rage, but before confronting the Gyarados, let's collect the items. A full restore, the red flute, the secret power TM, the hidden power TM, a pair of choice specs, and a rare candy. With those collected, I find myself face to face with the red Gyarados. They say that during past strife, Gyarados would appear by leaving blazing ruins in its wake. Using the word blazing to describe a water type is an interesting choice. I do love Gyarados though, and it will always be iconic because of this shiny. Once captured, we obtain the red scale, which I will be sure to go back and exchange for the EXP share. On the shore, some guy named Lance is waiting and asks if we'd be willing to help with an investigation, which we do of course agree to. Upon stepping into this house, we get to see one of the coolest cutscenes in all of Pokemon where Lance's Dragonite hyper beams this random guy. Lance then finds a hidden stairway behind a bookcase, and down inside is the Team Rocket hideout. Here, there are tons of statues that alert the guards if you walk past. Each will bring 2 Team Rocket grunts for you to fight. Normally, I would disable them by using the computer, but since we're battling every trainer in the game, I will not be doing that. Here, I'm going to talk about Team Rocket, and just the evil Pokemon teams in general. The first evil team I was introduced to was of course Team Rocket, but not here in the games. Saturday morning episodes of the Pokemon anime used to air, and I would always see the iconic Jessie and James. Oh, and Meowth too. I would play through my Heart Gold wondering when I'd be able to meet Jessie and James, as they were super iconic, and I wanted to send them, well, blasting off again. Unfortunately, those dreams were never met, as they've never appeared in a mainline series Pokemon game. The next evil team I was introduced to was Team Plasma, which may sound weird, but my first game was Heart Gold, and then when I got my second game, Pokemon Black, it was what everyone was talking about, so of course I wanted that instead of the older games. I went on to pour hours and hours into Black and White, and then Team Plasma quickly became my new favorite team. The battle music was amazing, and don't even get me started on how cool the Shadow Triad is. which to be fair, I'm not entirely sure if they're classified as Team Plasma members. Regardless, the 7 Sages along with the Plasma Grunts made for an amazing team and is still my favorite team to this day. X and Y came out after that, and I of course played through them. However, I didn't really understand Team Flare like I did Team Plasma. Maybe it's because the story was a little short, but I couldn't tell you a single Team Flare admin name if you asked me. Then, in Sun and Moon, the evil teams picked back up with the introduction of Team Skull. This team quickly became another favorite of mine because, to be honest, they aren't even bad people. They have some really funny dialogue, and the dance moves along with their rebellious leader really tied the team together. Team Skull is my second favorite team in any Pokemon game ever created. Then came the worst evil team of all time, Team Yell. I won't go into too much detail, but Team Yell sucks. They're boring, and I still don't fully understand them. Team Star is at least a step up, although it's hard to classify them as an evil team with the way the story ended. The only team I've yet to cover is Team Magma and Aqua, and for me, they fall somewhere in the upper middle. Not the best team, but definitely above average. Alright, sorry for kind of going into a deep dive on these teams, but anyways, let's collect the items here. A Hyper Potion, a Nugget, a Guard Spec, and a Revive. I then head downstairs to meet up with Lance, and he kindly restores my Pokemon to full health. Then I make sure to collect a full heal, an X special, a protein, the Snatch TM, a full heal, an X special defense, the Thief TM, a brief encounter with our rival, and an Ultra Ball. I eventually reach the room with Executive Petro, and after taking him down, he explains that the door only activates if the password is said with his own voice. Luckily for us, there happens to be a Murkrow that is mimicking the password perfectly. So after returning to the power source, Murkrow is able to open up the door for us. However, Executive Ariana and a random grunt try challenging us to a 2 versus 1, which I would have easily been able to take care of, but Lance steps in and insists on helping out. With his insane level 40 Dragonite, we're easily able to take down their teams and scare them off, at least for now. Lance then explains that we need to take out the electrodes powering the machine, and for some reason, I was so locked in on clearing out this area, I took out all 3 electrodes, meaning I forgot to catch one. We'll be sure to grab one later, but if you're following along, make sure you catch at least one of these and don't take them all out like me. Anyways, Lance rewards us with the HM for Whirlpool, which won't be getting any use, at least for now. With that, we've officially cleared out the Rocket Hideout. Next up, it's time to challenge the Mahogany Gym, which I can't believe is already Gym 7. After making our way through the ice puzzles, we arrive at the back of the gym and challenge Price. Unfortunately for him, his best Pokemon is a Dugong, so our Hitmontop is yet again able to take down another gym. Upon defeat, we are rewarded with the Glacier Badge along with the TM for Hail. I then step outside and immediately receive a call from Professor Elm. Apparently, there's trouble in Goldenrod City, and we're about to get into one of my favorite evil team sections in all of Pokemon. That will have to wait until next time though. I'm currently experimenting with different video lengths as was suggested by some other successful YouTubers, so I would really appreciate your thoughts. Do you enjoy somewhere around the half-hour mark, or would you prefer longer videos ranging from 45 minutes to an hour? Regardless, once the forever save of Heart Gold is complete, I will compile all of the footage into one big movie. So again, any feedback goes a long way. I also want to say a quick thank you to all of the love on the first part of this series. The support has been insane, and it's really helped me stay motivated to continue making content just like this. As this is a shorter video, it doesn't feel right to put the credits at the end, so I'm going to wrap it up here. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it's the easiest way to let me know that you enjoy videos like these. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, YouTube thinks you'll like one of these, so feel free to check them out.